Right.
All right, welcome everybody to tonight's regular city council meeting. We're so glad to see you here. Thank you. Remember, this is a formal city council meeting, so the rules of decorum are in place. And with that, I'm going to call this meeting to order, 5:30 p.m. Please stand for the pledges. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Please be seated. Alex, we have a quorum this evening with Councilmember Portillo absent due to family business. Proof of notice of meeting, please, Alex.
Thank you, Mayor. Notice of this meeting was posted at 2 p.m. on June 26, 2025.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, for public comments, this is one of two opportunities in which you will have to speak. You will have 3 minutes. You'll need to come to the podium, state your name and your ward. Keep in mind, council cannot respond to you. If you ask questions, we can't respond. Do we have any public comments this evening, Alex?
We do not.
Moving on to public hearings, this is the other opportunity in which you have to speak. If you are here to speak on the public hearing item, you'll need to come to the podium, state your name, your ward. You'll have 3 minutes, and once again, council cannot respond to you. So public hearings begin at 5:31, Alex. Public hearing A to obtain citizen views and comments regarding replat 2025-07-01. A replat application which would allow the applicant Horticultural Consulting LLC to reflect updated ownership of a recently purchased portion of public property. The subject property is located at or about 508 South 5th Street and is legally described as a replat, Lot 5, Block 1, J.W. Ferguson, 2nd edition, to the City of Alpine subdivision plat on file in envelope 96, plat records of Brewster County, Texas. The record property owner is Horticultural Consulting LLC. The parcel ID of the subject property is 10378. The current zoning classification of the property is R3 apartment district. If the replat is approved, the zoning classification of the subject property will remain R3 apartment district. Is there anyone here to speak on this item this evening? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to close public hearings at 5:32 p.m. Alex. Okay, moving on to public presentations, there are none. Proclamations, there are none. Community interest items, Alex, please give each member of the council as well as the city manager 1 minute on the clock. Okay, so give me 1 minute. We'll start with mayor announcements. Okay, some of the things I wanted to remind the public of is Thursday, July 3rd. We have our 06 Cowboys versus Pecos at Coconut at 6 p.m. We have a big celebration coming up Friday, July 4th, 10 a.m. The parade will start from Coconut Park to the courthouse. If you're interested in being in the parade, you don't need to sign up. Just show up at 9 a.m. 10:30 to 4, Brewster County Courthouse lawn. We're going to have cook-off, games, booths, and then a town picture as well. 4 p.m. there's a Cowboys baseball, and at 6 p.m. Cowboys baseball. 8 p.m. there's an American Legion dance, and at 9:30 fireworks from Coconut. The American Legion will also be serving lunch for $15 a plate. I believe that's at 1 o'clock. Saturday, July 5th, Cinderella opening night at the Theater of the Big Bend at the Coconut Outdoor Theater. July 23rd through 27th, we have Viva Big Bend. August 8th and 9th, Big Bend Ranch Rodeo. And September 18th through 20th, Trappings at the BC. If you haven't seen a trapping show, it's well worth it. September 25th through 27th, Sul Ross State University Rodeo. And I also want to let the public know our interim city manager, Gio Calderon, has done a fantastic job. In fact, he has us now in compliance with Title VI. He started a website in which employees can go and post anonymous complaints if they feel that they are the subject of any discrimination. So well done, Gio. Thank you. All right, Councilmember Stevens.
Mayor, thanks very much. I'd like to add on to a couple of your comments. September 26th and 27th is a big weekend for Stalwarts. Got rodeo, that is the first home game for football, and as the Aaron Watson concert that night as well. So it is a huge weekend. So you go to football, rodeo for 2 nights, and do a concert. So plan on September 26th and 27th. The other fireworks, depending upon the Cowboys game, if it ends at 9:30, we'll start fireworks at 9:30. If not, it may roll at 10 o'clock. So don't be concerned. It'll start right at 9:30. So I've got thank you.
Great, thank you, Councilmember Escobedo. Okay, Councilmember Martinez.
Yes, I want to wish everybody happy 4th of July. And then I want to pass on, I think that we're going to have in the Catholic Church. There's going to be a Roman sale and they're asking for donations. It would be for Friday, July 11th and Saturday, July 12th. They can donate furniture, so many things. For more information, you can call to the Catholic Church. You don't have nothing to donate or buy some. Any donation is well taken for the church. Thank you.
Okay, and I'm sorry, city manager,
No
Gio is our interim city manager, but for simplicity, I'll refer to him as city manager. I skipped over you.
No problem. So the only announcement that I have is Chris Rugia and Heather Gaden with our tourism department nominated Alpine for the 2025 Texas Travel Award. And we won 6 awards. Best Public Art for Alpine's Downtown Murals, Best Museum for Museum of the Big Bend, Best Outdoor Activity, Big Bend Stargazing, Best Instagrammable Spot for the Desk, and the Best Music Venue for the Ridge. So thank them and congratulating our community for winning this award.
That's great, thank you. All right, so changes to the posted agenda. Council, are there any items to be continued or withdrawn? Are there any items to be removed from the consent agenda for separate discussion? Councilmember Stevens?
B, C, and E. please.
B, C, and E, and that simple request. So we will consider B, C, and E at item 8 of our agenda. So Alex, please remove B, C, and E, consent agenda for separate discussion. Okay, are there any action items to be added to the consent agenda? Seeing none, are there any time-sensitive items? Okay, seeing none, let's move on to the consent agenda. Alex?
Thank you, Mayor. Tonight's consent agenda is approval of the June 10th, 2025 special meeting minutes. B, approval of fiscal year 2025-2026 city meeting minutes calendar. F, approval of the 2025-2026 planning and zoning submittal calendar. And G, approval of the May 2025 invoice for Bohortes Law Firm Services.
I need a motion.
I vote B, E, F, G. I'm sorry, A, D, E, F, and G.
Okay, I need a second. Sorry, who seconded? Okay, all right, let's vote. Alex, city council unanimously approved the consent agenda items A, E is in David, F, and G. Remember Councilmember Portillo is away. All right, so items removed from the consent agenda, that was B, C, and E. Councilmember Stevens.
Thanks, Mayor. And so when we first talked about discussion, item number B, that was the approval of the June 17th, 2025. It listed the removal of item 11J is continued, and I thought we withdrew it as opposed to continue. The only distinction doing one from going back and 11J had one of the because I was in motivation for all that. So I just want to make sure the minutes were corrected. So I would move that we approve item 11 or 7B with that amendment.
Okay, do I have a second? Okay, let's vote on approving item 7B with the amendment that we withdrew that item.
Aye.
Alex, council unanimously approved the removal of 11D from the minutes of the June 17th meeting. Remember, Councilmember Portillo is not present. Okay, Councilmember Stevens, item C.
Thanks, Mayor. And this is as much for education, I think, for all of us than anything else. The proposed holiday calendar shows 18 holidays. And typically, they're ranging between 12 and 17 holidays. And I just want to kind of get on the table. We seem to have one extra one. When I looked at between the federal and state, it's the day after Easter. As we have this holiday, and I don't know the history behind that, I will promise doing that, I think we did it this year, but that,
We've done it for, we've had 18 paid holidays in our package for since the last minute.
yeah, I just don't recall, it. Yeah, I just sounds surprised.
Okay, so do I hear, an amendment or a motion or?
Well, I like that discussion and feedback, from make the motion, so.
I think, as far as my opinion,
Yeah.
it's a benefit for our employees, I'm okay with it. Councilmember Rufus,
But it's 144 hours. They call it, it's a lot of fun. But I think I'm with 15 and benefits versus, well. But you saying that median is 14, 17.
Yeah.
I thought we were just.
I get the benefits to employees, I hear from the citizens on the other side, and was a lot of holidays. And the city officer close, that's the feedback that I have, that's why I raised the question.
Councilmember Escobedo, I'm sorry.
So I think it's the same that the last you presented, as you,
Yes, it's been the same since at least 2018, since I've been here.
yeah, I checked it a lot, and they were,
It's the same exact holidays, and two, the only difference is last year, we had a Juneteenth.
yeah,
We removed the day somewhere, I forget where, but we had a Juneteenth on staff, their federal holiday.
yeah, and I think that they deserve the holidays, you know, they were so hard, so. I'm agree with that.
I'm receiving, I think, I see Friday, but Friday, but I don't know.
If you'd like, I can gather the last. The holiday schedules and put them on the plan as well. I mean, it's regardless, whatever you all want to do, I'm saying it's a significant benefit that we can offer our employees. And an advantage to get people to want to work.
And why not? Everybody give us holidays, so why not give it to them? So they can excellent jobs. But if you do your best, so if you serve.
Well, let me put an alternative on the table. Why not January 2nd, since it's a Friday? That would.
We can definitely do that, I think that's a great idea.
So it's, I mean, I get trying to give people time off, I understand that, it's just. Well, day after Easter, just as, I'd like to say, it could be shut down Monday through Sunday, oh, and Monday too.
So you propose to change your Good Friday, day off, good day, New Year's Eve, good free.
That's exactly what, yeah, so keep Friday, January, that way there's the days, I think that's a better deal. Better deal.
I agree.
Okay, council's opinion, Councilmember Martinez, Councilmember Rufus. Councilmember Escobedo. Okay,
So I propose that motion.
We'll see.
okay, great, let's vote on having January 2nd off instead of, what was it, Monday, April 6th?
So that will be the same amount of days?
Yeah.
Yes.
So it'll be January 2nd, so they have a 3-day weekend instead. Or actually a 4-day weekend, yeah, okay, let's vote.
Aye.
All right, Alex, city council voted unanimously for the amendment to have January 2nd listed as a day off instead of April 6th. And we need to dispose of the original motion as amended. So for the amendment.
Aye.
All right, so Alex, the original motion has been disposed of and has been. Okay, and Councilmember Stevens, item E.
So item D, I'm gonna propose that we approve it as presented. But I want to have discussion, which is why I raised.
Go ahead, the discussion.
Okay, so the discussion really is, today is city council meeting, the way in which the COVID ordinance reads. We have to turn up all of our items into the next meeting. My sense is we're just pushing ourselves to action. I don't think about it, and my worry is we delay our time. We talked about this some time ago, but I've never been in favor of only having basically less than 24 hours from this meeting, to say we have to have it ready for each next meeting. So I want to have us move it to Thursday or Friday. I know it puts more crunch on the city staff, it puts more crunch on the city attorney, but my view is we're not getting the opportunity to do our job. So that's why we're.
Councilmember Martinez.
Well, I think that we talked about it, that, we already have scheduled what we want to do the next meeting, is not the day before decision. You have it a week before decision, so they can have a week before the agenda. That's why they send the list of, dates that we can put on the agenda
We have to have our agenda items. Next week.
for the next
The
meeting.
next week's gotta be in the fall.
But we already have some points to put on the agenda that we talked the last meeting, but it will be a next meeting agenda. But you need more time, so you need time to submit.
Councilmember Escobedo.
I thought we were gonna change it to, what was talking about. I mean, because
Talked about it at the last council, that we want to, council's on board, and that's why I want.
And I believe since it's an ordinance, we will have to go through that procedure. So we can't change it tonight.
That's correct.
Okay, Councilmember Lucas.
So if we did that, you said, hypothetically push Thursday or Friday, wouldn't that push when council gets their package back, 2 to 3 days?
Possibly, if y'all are okay with that, we can certainly change it however y'all do.
Because then you would still have the same amount of time to get it to us and then the public, that'd be all right, Joe.
Absolutely, I mean, we can do whatever the council wants, it's just, you know, taking into consideration the advantage was to give council a full week to review the packet ahead of time, to give the public days in advance, because before they only had 24 hours in advance review, to provide the attorney 24 hours to conduct a legal review on the agenda. So taking all of those factors into consideration, whatever you decide, I think y'all can change it however, you know, whatever works.
I would have had personally if that did to go to council, or our attorney.
And Cynthia is on Zoom. So Cynthia, if you want to chime in.
Yes, I just wanted to point out, we've not yet sent out an email to everything on this legislative change. But the posting requirements for our agendas will change starting September 1. And so now the posting requirement is no longer 72 hours before the meeting. It is 3 business days before the meeting. And so that's going to significantly impact city staff's, processes to get agendas and packets and whatnot ready. And so just whatever decision y'all make tonight, just keep aware that come September 1, that's the new rule that's going to be in place.
So then we put it to be posted 3 days.
So yes, that's right. So since it is an ordinance, the process, I mean, when it comes to the ordinance process, we will definitely dissect it. See what days we need to update or whether it be days that we have to work on the packet or days after review. But we can certainly make amendments and come to a consensus on a change. This needs to go through our process.
Do you want that discussion? I want to, so we can actually dissect it and see what it'll affect on the back end and everything. Because I'd be, I'm not a big fan of the 24 hours either, but if it puts less on y'all, then sure, whatever, because I want to always play in what happens like in this meeting into what I'm gonna put into the fall sack, in 24 hours.
Gio, could you take a look at the line at 24 hours and put that new timeline in that Cynthia's talking about, come back and say, here's what it would look like if we delayed it rather than Wednesday, make it Thursday. and a new count that was 72.
Okay, so you're just requesting an additional 24 hours?
Right.
I think that should be enough.
Yeah.
Okay, so Alex, would you put that on the next agenda for us? Yes. Thank you.
Okay, I'm great.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we need to vote on for the approval of the agenda deadlines calendar. And then we always vote in the affirmative, so if you were against approving the agenda's deadline calendar, you will vote no. Alright. As we vote in favor of approving, so if we all want to approve it,
The second is that.
it was, Lucy, okay, perfect. Okay, so approval of the agenda deadline calendar, let's vote. Okay. Okay. Alright, so so Alex, our city secretary substitute, we have approved unanimously the deadline for the 2025-2026. Alright, moving on to here are those reports and presentations. For those presentations this evening, which our city manager has placed on the agenda, each presentation has 6 minutes. Alex, so if you would time that, please, on the clock. And city manager, item A.
Thank you, Mayor. Item A is update from the Alpine Emergency Services Board, and tonight we have James Jefferson available, or Rusty Moore, actually, to provide that.
Oh, and James is here too.
Is he here? Great.
He snuck in behind you.
But, thank you. Hey, back up, back up, that's right. Mayor, council members, good evening. Thank you all for having us. My name is Rusty Moore. I'm current chairman of the Alpine, Emergency Services Board. And, so I start out, you probably think that I sent you somewhat of a laundry list. It looks like a grocery shop. It is. And I've meant to do that on purpose, to see some of the backup behind how we've established this budget. Now, our financials are well on their way. I had more questions than I care to admit. So it wasn't appropriate to submit these because we need these categories better defined. We need some expenses better defined, although they tie back without exception to the position of transparency with which we created this board. So they are there. We have a great bookkeeper that's working on those. The budget was formed in the November-ish of 2024 for the 25 calendar year. And we just got established in QuickBooks with the bookkeeper just recently. And so the line items are not exactly tying back, so I can present a better variance. But we are in the black, everything looks good. One thing that's a little clunky right off is that we established on a calendar year, the contributions from the city and the county are on a fiscal year. And so we're still operating off of the county's contribution from October 24th, which would be in that fiscal year. We're on a calendar. We know we need a cycle or two for that to kind of trim up, but that's why it looks kind of funny because we're on the calendar. But that the financials will tie back to the budget, the line items, variances will be easy to do. We have some things like in other business expense, I had to be part of it. That was much our bookkeeping category. Well, in QuickBooks, there wasn't a line item for that category. So she has to establish it and put it on other. Anything that says other bothers me. I want to know what is that? And so, but it all does tie back to contract. And one other item on that other category actually was miscategorized. It actually should be on volunteer services. Because that is a reimbursement to our fire chief for a $70 cash out-of-pocket expense paid to a firefighter that had been approved and been signed off on. They got left off the checks. So that $670, that shouldn't be in that category. That ought to be back on the volunteer services where you see the stipends. But I just want to be sure and illustrate that level of granularity. We'll be working on a capitalization statement. So, those non-expense items, someone needs to replace a mallet hammer. That probably doesn't need to be on balance. That's something that falls in an expense category. We have established procurement checks and balances where there is a submission, from the fire chief. There is an approval, there's a PO process that we've established. All of this is available on a shared team site, including all minutes and, everything that we've established for reviewing that request. And actually, we targeted our priorities based on the pain points of this leadership body. And, you know, the previous city manager illustrated, here's where we really were having problems. This was back in Warren Pit, April of 2023. And so we set those priorities based on the pain points of the city council and specifically the city manager. And so I illustrate that so you all know the emphasis and the significance that this leadership body has on the Alpine Emergency Services Board and Fire Department. So that is how we approach this. Where do you have these problems? Because everyone correctly made the checks. So everyone correctly, there wasn't checks and balances. It was a mess. And I'm surrounded by some phenomenal citizens that wanted to be a part of this as appointees because it was a mess. And we knew that we could do better as for this group. And those are the kind of people I like to be surrounded by. Rolled up the sleeves and we've got things going in a good direction. The next quarterly, I understand it, we're set at the end of each quarter. Is that correct? I believe so. The next quarterly meeting, we will have financials submitted. Our fire chief had found a software program that we unanimously approved that tracks all inventory within the fire department. That's something that no one knew what was there, what wasn't. And so not only do we know exactly the location of it, we know the vintage of it, I mean, it is tracked to the vehicle even level, and so the training that the firefighters are receiving in the last 2 years is more than the last 15. I don't believe that's the celebration. That's something we're most proud of. We're receiving certifications that now Texas Forest Service is reaching out to these firefighters for help in areas because they had certifications they never had. And so that was something that's extremely important to us. Safety of the firefighters, safety of those that they are taking care of their need. Thank you all very much.
So, what can we do to help?
Well,
I know money, all of this.
we want to make sure that we are satisfying the needs of this council. We want to make sure that you have a voice, that you have representation, that it is something we take to heart. There was a request about tracking water. A simple request that came in and say, hey, let's something to track water in water trucks. No problem. We've got software to do that with a turnaround. And I think the anticipation was it was going to be a challenging ask. We turned that around because of these improvements, because of the software, because of the control that we have within the organization. We can spin those requests around on time. So, and have, that I'm aware of, there's not been any issues in filling that.
That's phenomenal. Okay, Councilman Martinez?
Just to congratulate you, we have done the job, and thank you for all the training and really preparing and getting ready. So thank you for all those services and waiting to come.
Councilmember Lucas?
Thank you for all the children participating. Also, the volunteer firefighter. I appreciate all the training, all my, and
Councilmember Escobedo?
The report was so easy, in your review.
Councilmember Stevens?
Thanks, Rusty. So 2 questions. We're getting ready to go to budget cycle. What do we do for that along? What your thoughts are on this winter budget?
When would you like that?
Well, I'm not sure when close to the cycle, would that approve like county does by, not just time things, so certainly we'll do that.
We'll make sure that happens.
And the second question is, are you all pursuing grants for this next year?
Yes, we will continue to hustle the Yarborough grants. These opportunities are coming back into play because we can present the order within this organization. We can present transparency, we can show what we're doing, folks, what we have in the bylaw, how we're conducting business. And so that's brought a lot of individuals back to the table. We will always be hustling grants. And this gentleman right here has found grant opportunities and has produced grant opportunities that I didn't even know were out there, so. And he's just done a phenomenal job, his leadership, motivation within the firefighters, training. It's, it's starting to be fun. So we really have, risen from the ashes and, really proud of what we're doing. Really proud of James' leadership and the motivation that he's building things. So, where we can help foster that and continue to support that motivation and get you all need supporters of this, what you need, we need it. And this board will.
I see the change, absolutely. The board will serve forward after I. Day. Well done, well done.
Okay, all right, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, city manager, discussion item B, 6 minutes on the clock.
Discussion item B is update from the Family Crisis Center, Big Bend.
Hi.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Virginia Sandoval, our program director, advocate was supposed to be here today, but emergency work calls, and there was a crisis, so it is me, Anthony Tucker. So I'll go over to this presentation with y'all. A little bit about us, the Family Crisis Center of the Big Bend provides long-term and emergency services to provide for survivors of domestic violence, sexual assault, dating violence, violent crime. We serve 5 rural counties: Brewster, Presidio, Jeff Davis, Carroll, and Pecos, with a staff of 12. All of our services are free and confidential. Our team got bigger this year. For those that don't know, we actually absorbed the TRAX program, so now we have a transportation program. So now we're about 31 employees. For our services, from March to May of this year, the Family Crisis Center of the Big Bend was able to make a positive impact on the community of Alpine, most notably the number of clients served, outreach, emergency shelter, and financial assistance. Clients served. The 4 advocates of the Alpine office were able to provide 4,230 services to 193 clients from March to May of this year. Of those clients, 140 were female, 52 male, and 1 non-conforming gender person.
That's an amazing.
It is a lot for 4 advocates, yes. Our other services, our new legal aid advocates, Virginia Sandoval and Deborah Guerrero, out of our trilingual office, will be assisting clients with legal aid from the Texas Rio Grande, assisting protective orders, family law issues such as divorce, child support, etc. And they're almost about done completing their training. They have another conference for later this year, and that way they'll be certified and be able to help our clients more extensively when it comes to legal questions. The FCCVB volunteers provide over 2,643 hours of service to assist the mission from our months between March and May of this year. We are very thankful for all the volunteers that come and help us at our building, at our Deja Vu store, doing maintenance, kind of landscaping around the building. We're very thankful for our volunteers. Outreach, we participate in or provide over 88 outreach services, from presentations, training events, teacher in-service, office hours. We have office hours at Sol Ross, also in Sanderson, in Fort Davis as well. We do the in-service teacher training for Alpine ISD, for Marathon as well, in Sanderson. So we got our advocates traveling and training and spreading the word of what we do and the services that we can help. This one you'll see Virginia, the Sanderson ISD, educating Sanderson students what healthy relationships should look like. We received a grant that helps us go into the schools so that we can teach and mold the minds of adolescents as to what a healthy relationship should look like. We really believe domestic violence and things like that is more of a pattern. If they see something, they might want to mimic that later, take those characteristics later in life. And the next one, we have our newest advocate, Denise, here at Alpine ISD at the high school, doing kind of the same presentation of teaching the kids about healthy relationships. Also, we do a big push on teen
Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month as well, where we're out there in schools. At Sol Ross in the month of April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and we have a couple of activities that we come together with Sol Ross, do clothesline project, the put a nail on it. On the next one, we have Chalk the Walk, as well as the safety walk that we do at nighttime. Our emergency shelter, the Family Crisis Center of the Big Bend has 2 emergency shelters in Alpine and Presidio. During March and May of this year, shelter was provided to victims of domestic violence and or sexual assault. Our emergency shelter was occupied for a total of 12 nights during that period. For its financial assistance during March and May, Alpine clients received over $15,941 in financial assistance in the form of rent, deposits, utilities, transportation, childcare, relocation needs, food baskets, and gift cards. Those gift cards are usually more for the grocers, things that we don't get from the food bank. That way they can grab those things at the local grocery store. Our little free pantry is outside of our office, and it's available to clients or anybody in the community that is in need of food. That comes out of our general funds. Really, that's what we do to give back to the community. We've noticed people that stop by are a lot later in life, a little older than we expect we usually have. In the hot months or hot weeks, we do have less traffic because it's too hot. Our future building, we purchased the community center building located at 402 East Gallego Avenue to provide an office building and shelter for our Alpine location. The increased size and layout will allow advocates to better support clients in their journeys, provide a more modern shelter to assist more emergency clients, as well as the state of communities we serve. We're hoping to be in the building by the end of the summer. So we're really close. In the next slide, you'll see all the progress of the construction. And on the next one, there's the outside. So if you haven't, please drive by and look at our brand new building. We're very proud of it. And our contact information for here locally in Alpine. And that's our tracks department information. Well, that is all. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Councilmember Escobedo.
I can spend it almost every day. The next morning, nights and progress is amazing.
Thank you. Councilmember Martinez.
Hi, Andrea.
Hi.
Could you share with us a little bit about the retreat in Lingua?
Our retreat in Lingua. So, since we do so good work, our advocates there in Lingua, we were able to have a staff retreat once a year so far. At the Maverick RV Park, and they have a swimming pool, really nice pool. So for one day, all of our staff gets to go, and we have a swimming day, and we buy all our sandwich supplies here at Lowe's, and we just make sandwiches, everything pre-made, and you know, as soon as you're hungry, you can go have a sandwich and then go back in the pool, and we all really enjoy it. And we get to come together, more team building than anything.
Councilmember Stevens. Councilmember Lucas.
Yeah, thank you for you. And like you, great job. And building sure.
Yes, he is every, now and then we're like, whoa, we might need one more thing, or need to change something, and you know, he's on the drawing board, but we're very excited for this new building.
You provided amazing service. Y'all do a tremendous amount of work and we're grateful. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
Hey, city manager, item C, 6 minutes on the clock, please, Alex.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 9C is update from Alpine Public Library, and we have the executive director here.
Wow. Oh, gosh.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Thank you for giving me some time here to talk about the Alpine Public Library. First thing I want to mention is our annual accreditation has been accepted by the Texas State Library and Archives, so we are accredited for another year. That's a lot of huge stuff. But anyway, so why do we want to be accredited? We get a lot of benefits. We have access to state resources. We can apply for competitive grants that are state funded. We also are part of the TechShare Consortium. The TechShare Consortium gives us a lot of data. They spent 60 databases for patrons and libraries And it's a fraction of the cost of what we would have, we're talking thousands of dollars for the database. And we have only paid for our vendors to use, so that's a really good benefit. As a tech share library, we use your tech share. Everybody knows what a tech share card is. We can issue a tech share card to Alpine Public Library, so they can use their tech share card at any accredited library in the state. So if we're going on a vacation somewhere, you have to do it for money, tech share card, just go out there, just like you're at home. We also locally have residents, patrons that visit Alpine, Marfa, Marathon, and Jeff Davis counties and use their tech share cards to rotate their money. We have quite a few homeschoolers and stuff like that. Tech share card also allows us to use interlibrary. Statewide interlibrary loan is very confident about patrons. They can get books from almost any library in the state, and we get books from other libraries outside. Last year, we borrowed 158 items from other libraries, loaned out from our library at 100. Another thing that's not really part of the accreditation process, but we participate in eTexas. And that's a service called Boundless. It's an app, and it's for ebooks and audio books, and we give it at no cost. It's for a small town library. They have about 20,000 items. Go check out. Moving on to the kids stuff, the Color Our World Summer Reading started on June 5th. We had 26 people come to our Talk the Block. We're collaborating with the Found Observatory, the Midland State Park, and the Davis Mountain State Park. They're producing programs every week now through August, or at least next month, the beginning of August, for school starts. We also have reading challenges in the library for kids, to reading law, and bingo game, and they win prizes for participating. So local businesses support the program. That's Joe Pro Coffee, Wrangler Theater, and City of Alpine just donated a pool pass. All of this is to encourage kids to read during summer break. Father Time and Peppers Western River are our year-round programs. Father Time at 10 o'clock on Thursday mornings regularly has an attendance of about 50 people. Huntless and Espino at 4 p.m. on Wednesdays has about 80 people. I wanted to talk about adult programs. The adult literacy rate in Texas is about 81%. That means that 19% of adults in Texas lack basic literacy skills. Additionally, Texas has a low number of libraries per capita. 3.2 libraries per 100,000 population. That's the fourth lowest in the nation. The library's adult education program is great. Recently, we have 4 new GED graduates, and we're planning a graduation on July 11th at 7:30. We are going to wind down a little bit for the break. For this class, we'll probably start another section here at the end of July. Earlier this year in May, we had a visit from the Socorro ISD Adult Education Administrators. You know, we're working with a grant that's supposed to be and came down to look at us and give us a heads up for what kind of money we're getting. The great news is that we're going to get some more money. The bad news is everybody's getting like 50% cut. They did promise that sometime maybe this summer, later this fall, there will be some adjustments. There's about funding issues. I don't know if that's state, federal issues. Hopefully that will increase. Other adult education news, we've had 5 first aid CPR classes through the end of June. All the classes have been full except those adult shows. A lot of interest in us, so we're planning on another set of classes this fall. Yoga with Daily meets on Wednesday, the first and third Wednesdays of the month. That's about a dozen regular people. Yarn Arts meets every Friday morning, 10 or 12. Travel Talk meets on the last Friday of every month through October. We have about 30 people attending that. On July 12th, Vernon Tucker with Tucker Initiative Cooperative will host a free active shooters event class at the library. Registration is required, and there's a link on the library website to register. As of right now, that's about 6 people registered. And we always welcome suggestions for other programs. Finally, I think that all, Alpine Public Library is a great resource for the community. We compliments all the time from local patrons and visitors. That are surprised that we have as many things that we offer, one that like larger office on. Regularly, we have new residents come in with the library card. I've had people come in with coupon loaded in the parking lot. First stop in town is find out what I have to do to get out. I started at the library as a volunteer because I valued that. Last year, the library was fortunate to have volunteers put in about 6,200 hours of service. We've done without. Obviously, the library provides a value to the community. In fact, a study from the Texas State Library and Archives Commission found that for every dollar invested in the Texas Public Library, community sees a $4.64 in return for access to resources, programming, services, and technology. The UT Business School did a survey for the library in the state. Alpine Public Library had one of the libraries. And they found that Alpine, the library added about $1 million worth of value to the community. About half of that was a business entity, and about half of that was in services and things that the library offers. The city and the county combined support about 35% of the library budget. The remaining 65% we raised for sales, fundraising, and grants, and donations. Since the early 2000s, for about 20 years, we received the same amount from the city. Then, the 2023 fiscal 2024 fiscal year, our annual allowance was raised $4,000. And then for the 24-25 fiscal year, the allotment dropped back down to the previous one. I know we're all aware of rising costs across the board, but I hope that as you all discuss budgets, you're going to consider helping our library a lot. Probably go a long way to help us by excellent community service. That's all for you, Mike.
Well, I'm always surprised at what all our public library does. And I'm also saddened, as I travel a lot, I work across the state of Texas, all the communities that don't have a library. It's surprising, it's unfortunate. Councilmember Ricketts?
Thank you for everything, children as well. That's it. Looks like they get over that, so you have to go over there for taking what, it's, built for y'all. So, you know, I'm just, yeah. Good, thank you.
Councilmember Stevens? Councilmember Escobedo? Councilmember Martinez?
Muchas gracias for all your hard work. And I love that chamacos on APL. So I really wanted the programs that you have.
Okay.
So thank you so much. Thank you for great job.
Yes, thank you for all you do for.
Thank you.
All right, so moving on to information and discussion items. Item 10 on the agenda. Item A is discuss the status of the smart meter project and plan for implementation going forward. So I wanted to open this dialogue about where we are, and I wanted to start with our city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. I prepared just some information to kind of get everybody up to speed in case they aren't aware of the program. But essentially, first of all, I would like to thank Isabella Garcia. She is the assistant city manager, because she's done a really good job of compiling all this information for us. In the initial project, no employee that currently works here was included in the discussion, so she had to do a lot of research, so I appreciate that. So, the city has been evaluating its smart meter pilot program, and that was initially proposed under the last city manager. And that pilot was intended to test advanced metering infrastructure, or AMI technology. And that basically provides two-way communication, real-time data, and remote meter readings by a cellular network. And so that's the technology that was chosen over the less advanced automatic meter reading, or AMR system. So initially, we aimed to install 10 smart meters, but expanded that to include city council input. And essentially, we ended up with 45 residential and 8 commercial accounts to do a pilot program for smart meters. Essentially, what was going to happen is a base station near Sul Ross State University was planned for data transmission within a 1.5 mile radius. However, we did later discover that 13 residential and 1 commercial account falls outside of that range for the pilot. Citywide deployment would require repeater towers to fix that issue, of course. So the vendor selected by the previous administration was Premier Waterworks. Although a contract wasn't ever formally signed, the vendor reported that they were directed to proceed with the pilot, which was expected to last 60 days and cost approximately $40,000. The projected cost for full deployment of the program is $1.4 million. So the project was initially scheduled to begin in summer 2025, but concerns regarding the concurrent implementation of our utility billing software, CUSI, prompted us to request a delay until at least November of 2025. We believe that this would allow for stabilization of the new software, which is set to go live in October. And the vendor did object to the delay, citing expected inflation and tariff-related cost increases by that time. So the Director of Finance confirmed that there's currently no formal funding plan in place for either the pilot or full implementation. We did identify that the 2025 to 2029 capital improvement plan listed potential funding sources. And that included the utility operating budget, Texas Water Development Board grants and loans, and federal infrastructure funds. There is an uncertainty currently regarding an internal note that indicated the use and availability of American Rescue Plan Act funds. But we do believe that all the ARPA funds may have already been expended. So additional research is necessary to confirm whether the smart meters can be included in that scope. Because we have a Texas Water Development Board asset management program called Systems Grant, that's currently being managed with Jacob and Martin, the engineers assisting us with the grant. That's primarily focused on our wastewater treatment plant. And we plan to schedule a meeting just to confirm if there was a plan to utilize some of those funds for smart meter project. So staff did express concern that proceeding with the pilot outside of a competitive procurement process could complicate compliance with federal guidelines if the external funding is used. Federal and alternate vendors have expressed interest in providing a free pilot program, but these options haven't really been evaluated. Importantly, no current city staff was involved in selecting Premier Waterworks, so that did raise some questions about from staff as to whether the vendor really offers the best value or not. Unfortunately, we don't know that. This morning, we did hold a stakeholder meeting to discuss the status of the project. And attendees included myself, the Director of Finance, Director of Gas Utilities, Utility Bill Supervisor, Utilities Lead, and Assistant to the City Manager. And we did identify some key issues. First was the project has advanced rapidly without any current stakeholder input. Premier Waterworks was not previously disclosed to CUSI, the new utility billing software. So we're currently waiting on their confirmation that they're able to integrate the smart meters with the service. So the AMI meter reading package is not currently included in the city's contract with CUSI. So we would need to actually include that in the contract and get that approved. And right now, a lot of the stakeholders feel that there's a lot of hesitancy on our part to run that pilot with the outdated software. We just feel like it doesn't make sense. So the gas department also has advocated for smart meters in the past. They wish to be included in the pilot, and they also identified another vendor that would possibly be of value to us, EGW, offering a gas meter pilot program using AMI Itron meters for under $10,000. But essentially, given these challenges, the stakeholder group did recommend prioritizing the successful implementation of the CUSI billing software, resolving existing water meter reading issues and letting us restructure, and postponing the smart meter pilot until these issues are addressed.
Okay, so council, I want you to know the Director of Finance, the Director of Gas, our Manager of the Utility Department at this time, and our Supervisor for Customer Service Billing are all here if you have questions in regards to anything that Gio just announced to us. Councilmember Burgess. Let me ask, postponing until, are you saying November?
At least, right now, we're still needing to identify where the funds are gonna taken from. What I did forget to mention in that is that I have been working back with Marcy Tuck, and she, asked us to move the conservation services contract. I have that in review right now with the city attorney. Once I hear back from that legal review, I plan on starting everything with her, which would include in the scope of services, kind of letting us know what funding options might be available. Then she's the one that actually advised me in a conversation on the phone, and she really didn't believe that ARPA funding was going to be available for that, because she thought we expended the funds already. Again, I do plan on reaching out to Jacob and Martin just to make sure, because I did have a note saying that ARPA funds might likely be used. Just really want to.
Okay, so the previous administration, where did they say the funds were gonna come from?
And Vicky has been researching our finance director to see if there's anything set aside, and we haven't been able to find.
So, it looks like it's just gonna come out of the general fund. I mean, because we've already asked for volunteers, we've already put out notice, we've already had residents send in that they wanted to get the smart meters. And by the way, it is something that our residents overwhelmingly support, I think, smart meters.
The whole group overwhelmingly supports.
Yeah,
it as
sure,
well.
because it's also gonna help the utilities, and not having to manually read.
Our concern is just right now with not having a full-time city manager. You know, not knowing where fundings come from, and we're at least gonna have to take some time to figure that out. And then in addition, we do recommend, like I said, waiting for the software launch, because we feel like it would. Wouldn't be the best if that's it on our own top.
That makes sense. So the new software launches in October, so that's why you're proposing November. That gives us a month to work out bugs and.
But this company may not be compatible with this new software.
We had a lot of those discussions, I recall. I would suggest you guys go pull Darren Nance into this dialogue. Darren is probably the most knowledgeable former member of city council. Worked through a lot of compatibility issues. I recall, we had lots of discussion about compatibility, we had lots of discussion about utility work software. Why systems made sense. I would recommend your stakeholder pull Darren into the dialogue. And that person had a lot of confidence in his background perspective. He probably studied this stuff for 2 years. And while we've lost Megan and Johnny, I think he can fill in some of the gaps that we all do. There was never discussion about our performance.
Okay. We just have those.
That was never part of the dialogue. It was all about funded. That was the focus behind the pilots, working it, and then figuring it out. So my sense is pull there into the dialogue and help them educate you all, but he's got a good database, very well.
Okay, that sounds great. We can definitely contact him. And, you know, the other concern was, you know, none of us have vetted into this company, so if y'all are, you know, okay to move forward with that, knowing that we haven't explored alternative options, that's fine. It's a concern of ours again, but it wasn't.
Bless you.
Because none of us were.
Councilmember Rufus.
Yeah, so, I'm glad to hear that that's where the funding was gonna come from, because my main concern would be where the funds to do this. I'm overwhelmingly supportive of this for a number of reasons. I sat here and kind of got, thankfully to you, the staff here, so got me a bunch of information to kind of break it down, you know. And this is my main pedestal that I've heard, if you will, I'll stand on and preach from, if you will, is, you know, being in a trades industry that I'm already in. I understand that we only have so many hours that we work here, about 2,080 hours, you know, without getting into overtime. But now we have 18 paid holidays. We have on average for our workers that are on the lower end, they have, so 18 paid holidays, 144 hours. Our PTO for these lower workers, 104 hours. And then their sick leave is about 86.58 hours, which leaves us a total of 1,745 hours. And so, sure, I would love to say that we are 100% efficient, but it's not the reality of the situation whatsoever. At all, we're wasting time acquiring parts, driving around. We have younger staff. We're going to be on their phones and whatnot, right? So the rule of thumb, from what I understand, is about 60% efficiency, and that's being conservative. Right, so that legitimately gives us about 1,047 quarter hours per employee to get stuff done. We've already spent, this is excluding Dominic, and Priscilla from the overtime, we've already spent $26,695.57 on overtime. Still have another quarter to go. So why am I saying on this? Because of the fact that if we can get our utilities department, and I'm also a huge proponent for doing it for our gas department as well, y'all have a lot to manage. Y'all have a smaller crew, and y'all do a phenomenal job, and I think Randy for looking at crew so efficiently. And I'm in support as well for getting you, this same.
If I could say something,
Come,
we've been,
because otherwise it doesn't
Okay.
record, Randy.
all right,
Thank you.
we've been on board with trying to do the AMI since we came on board with the city in 2012. Fort Davis is ready to go. I'm 98% from having all the meters ready for the AMIs just to be installed. Last year, I asked for a quote from EGW on what it would cost to get Fort Davis up and running. 400 meters max. Was gonna run turnkey. They were gonna come, help us install them, train us how to program them, and get it set up for $130,000.
Is that just gas?
Just gas. Well, we wouldn't do water.
Right,
in Fort
but
Davis.
yeah,
Yes,
true.
So is this phenomenal? Is that compatible? Are they different meters, or is that probably what you're trying to work, Randy, is to make sure it's water?
Well, When we were the corporation, we were told to go with an American meter that could be compatible to take this Hertz.
Yeah, plug it on.
Yeah,
Yes, it is.
take off what's in there now, this thing. Battery life of 20 years, and it shoots the signal to cell phone out.
Right.
Of course, back then, when we were still a corporation, just to do 4 days, we were looking anywhere from 260,000 to 300,000 to just have 4 days. But technology has gotten better, it's gotten a little cheaper, it's gotten a little more people are trying to compete with each other, so they're trying to give you a better deal somewhere else.
Yeah, my question is the gas meter, we're talking about automating it. Is it compatible with all water meters, no water meters? I'm just trying to understand.
Gas and water don't mix.
I'm sorry?
Gas and water doesn't mix. The
No.
meters are different.
So they are different meters.
Yes.
So they both communicate through something.
They both can communicate the same way. So we have another quote coming in. Isadora contacted EGW also. So they're coming up with a new quote. He should have everything ready for us by the end of next week.
And you're talking
And
about gas, right?
well, he says that he's gonna contact the people that he knows that does the water. Because he thinks after, he spoke with Isadora that this amount of money that we're looking at right now is outrageous.
Good.
So, I mean, if you give us the time to do more research and not just go with one vendor that we think this could possibly work for, I know that it would be nice that we could go ahead and get all AMIs right now with this new system that's coming in. But the logic of it is can the city afford, just right now for water is 1.4 million. That's not even counting the gas.
Right.
And what I'm just trying to say is that this study could have been proven many, many years ago if they would have let us do Fort Davis, and we could have shown y'all that it would have paid for itself and how much time it allows us to keep doing what we need to do for infrastructure changes.
Okay, so Councilmember Rubus.
Yeah.
continue.
So with limited time, that was my main thing. We'd be able to focus these guys' time and give them their personal time back. So they can focus on what really matters. It's not just patching our infrastructure. Me being a plumber, I understand that these patches are way more expensive than actually cutting this out and actually replacing it. And then not to mention the fact that we're damaging roads that Eddie and his team are working really diligently to maintain, and so we're kind of double dipping into our funds, if you will, on having to pave a road, tear up the road, I was told about a $2,500 patch, which I 100% believe because I understand what 3 and 4 inch fittings cost. And I don't think that's an exaggerated price for 6 and 8 inch plus. And so I think in the amount of money that we're gonna save on overtime and then, material, and then also the fact that we're gonna be moving forward and hopefully catch up to our gas department on their utility side, at some point in efficiency would be my main deal. Also to add on to, when I was at TML, or 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, I got to talk with the city manager from, McCamey, Patty, amazing woman. They just implemented this very same software. She said we reach out to them, Crane, I think Raken, Midland, Odessa, they all use, AMR, through, Pure Waterworks. And so they highly recommend this. They say that the price is more expensive, but they will come in and install all of these meters for us. If service lines have to be moved or, extended or whatever, it's all in the cost, the computers are in the cost and everything. So, I am not opposed to getting other quotes and seeing what they are offering in that quote. But, she told me they're just under half of what, we had as far as taps. From my understanding, of the city, it took 5 days to do all meter install. So we're looking at maybe 10 days for us to have twice as many meters. Maybe give it a week to be conservative as well, so 3 weeks in total. And then that's something that our utility department didn't even have to undertake in, do. And so I think this is definitely a direction we should really get behind it and try and figure out the semantics of for both departments.
Councilmember Martinez?
Hi, Wendy. You said that you proposed this before, it never was approved before. How many years have you trying to?
It has never been, I mean, we allocated, if you notice on the budget for the gas department, we have a CIP that is sitting on $150,000 right now. And we were trying to get it set up with RFPs, getting three different RFPs so we could, pull the trigger on this. But I was told that let's wait another year, we'll budget in another $150,000 to give you a total of $300,000 so that we can do all 4 days and then some around here. Just so that we could start the process, but it just got lost. The city manager.
Was that money ever set aside?
It's still there, according to the budget numbers, right? The CIP says there's still 150 there.
So you don't have the money.
We have the money.
It was 4 days.
Yes, sir.
Councilmember Escobedo? I do think that we do need to explore, increases, and I think the community feel that time.
Councilmember Stevens?
So what's the timeline?
I mean, I would say that we can definitely continue to research it. Overwhelmingly, like I said, the group unanimously wants smart meters. We don't think that's the way to go. It's just to give us some more time to research where the funding will come from and to explore other vendors. If you all want us to do it, again, our concern was just what's the best value. I wasn't aware that Council Lucas had spoken with multiple people who are proponents of Premier Works or Premier Waterworks. CUSI, the billing software company, had never heard of them, so that concerned us a little bit too. But it's great to hear that you've already had feedback from the city in support of that vendor. We haven't looked into it at all.
Go ahead, Lucas.
Okay. Are you able to verify that his funds are there for years for sure?
For the last months, but also check on them.
Okay.
It's been a while since.
That's the last budget analysis that you gave me, it shows the plan.
Or I guess it does go into. Because you already have quotes coming in.
Well, I had a quote come in last year and, the vendor, his name is Daryl. She needed to figure out how we could ask for these, requests for proposals. He actually sent her via email how to fill out all that paperwork and would even help her to fill it all out if she needed it. When the last time that I had asked, she's like, I haven't had time. I don't have time to do it. I'm like, well, if you want, let me do it for you. I can get with him and we can fill it out. That way we can continue with this process. And that's when she's like, well, let's just wait. Let's go ahead and budget for you another 150. We roll that over. You now have $300,000 so that we can grow on that.
Okay. And so You're getting updated. quotes.
I'm getting an update, yeah, because obviously.
And how much time does this save you?
Oh, it saves us that. From what I gathered, once they set up Fort Davis, I can go over there, drive the route in 1 hour and be back. And I'll have all the
And so
information.
what
with
are
all
you
the-
currently? Okay,
just for Fort Davis, about a day and a half.
and then it's just one individual.
That's one individual. So day and a half in comparison to driving it around in 1 hour, the same thing would happen here. I mean, if we were, once we had everything going here, you could probably have one serviceman with that machine in the truck, drive the whole route here in town. It's just gathering all that information.
So how do y'all feel about if the funds are extra set there aside? Or, and is it compatible with software y'all are running?
Right now, I mean, and the new one that's proposed that we're gonna, he says that it'll tie right in.
Okay.
Now, there's a question though, right? Because
Run it.
Carmen just brought up a good point that we got this new software, but we didn't even pay to have the AMIs. Right?
Right, hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi, Carmen. We knew it was part of the conversation when we did the demos that we were looking into the AMIs in the future. However, we never budgeted towards it being so quick, so that module was not purchased whenever we did the contract with CUSI. I do meet with our project manager weekly, I'm scheduled meeting with them tomorrow, so we're gonna bring out all these companies and we come in and talk them out. And see what's compatible with CUSI and move forward with the purchasing of that module.
What is the increased cost?
As of right now, I'm not sure,
Okay.
but they're working on getting it simple.
We definitely want to know what the increased cost is gonna be. That's soon, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
So we had that discussion before.
Yeah.
They didn't share the money was gonna be there, so I think they do the same, I think, find out what it is.
Okay,
It's there.
Victoria.
Okay.
Okay.
So then, if that's there, then are we willing to?
Let's start the process.
To start the process with gas carbon welding.
Yeah.
Because theirs is significantly cheaper and we have the money already allocated for that. So, me personally, I don't see a reason why we wouldn't pull the trigger on that. It'll free up this group and then see how it's gonna integrate with our software in October. And then figure out the semantics for our utilities department and then take that off of success. Yeah, with gas work. Yeah, go on there.
I just wanna make sure there's compatible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got compatibility.
And I think let's give Daryl a chance with ECW to reach out with these people for the water meter.
Yeah.
I think they would do a better deal if we ultimately say, we want to pull the trigger on both, and they might even give us a better deal.
Yep, that makes sense.
I think what I was trying to get at is if we have the money for you already there. To do that, we give it a tentative, like, if it is compatible and everything, don't go ahead and keep full open.
Okay.
Just do.
So here's my thought, this is gonna require a few amendments. Okay, so, how about at the next meeting, Gio, why don't you put on the city council?
Yeah.
An opportunity for a budget amendment, assuming everything works. The council then to amend the budget, give you authority to move forward, where the money's coming from, how much it's gonna be, and give you time to ensure compatibility. Does that work?
A budget amendment for.
Gas.
For the gas.
For the
Okay.
Money
Yeah.
out there already, and then they can go live hypothetically October software, or we can push it off to November, so you have software going, have month. to
Right,
Figure it
right.
out. and everything.
I think that sounds great.
Yes.
Yes.
That's good.
You know, I'm glad that you brought together stakeholders, you're gonna have them continue to look at this so that we can move forward with these. The residents of Alpine are ready for it. I've received
Yes, absolutely.
numerous emails once that notice went out, that it was about time that we did this. And I know our utility department, they'll be grateful to have that time to do tap assessments and repairs and all the other hundreds of things you have to do every day instead of reading meters. And it will help the billing. We've had a lot of complaints about water billing. You know, and so,
I agree. Definitely.
yes,
How many employees we have in the water right now?
come on up, Mike, and see what you're talking to. the microphone. I'm sorry, but.
Don't be shy.
We know,
Humans, not very much.
Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing?
Great, how are you, Mike?
I'm doing well. We have 10 running right now, including myself, at the water departments.
My question is, how often do you read the meters? It's a lot of the meters is tentative or
I'm sorry,
estimated.
repeat that again. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
So how often do they really actually read the meters? And a lot of that in the bills is say tentative, that they estimate how much it's in. So when they really read the bills,
Sure, you're talking about the discrepancy
Yeah.
that's okay. What I think happened is, okay, so I'm wastewater. And so I'm coming in as the leadership role because we don't have a facilities director at the moment. So it's, I think, 2, 4, I think we only have 6 that are doing routes. And we have 12 routes at the moment, and we break them off either in partners and so we'll give everybody 2 or 3 routes, and they have roughly about 13, 14 days to get it done. But to my knowledge, it takes more around 23, 24 days. I think there was a place to see. I think there was and I'm just trying to be honest, I love my crew, I love those guys, but I think there was the well has been poisoned to a degree. Now that, I think we're at the point of pivot, in a positive direction, where we're kind of looking positively and we're trying to get it done. I don't know if I'm answering your question, but I'm just trying to be, as honest as I
my
can.
question was, how often do they read?
Estimate, how often do they estimate? How
Oh,
often
quite,
do they
quite a
actually
bit,
work?
quite a bit. So, we run behind schedule, and so, we'll turn in the routes, and if the routes aren't read, in a timely manner, then we estimate. From that.
So how long, how many months it takes for they actually go and read? Who knows?
Yeah, it could take a month and a half, more or less,
To go full rotation.
Because, an example, somebody asked me, how come my last month it was $120? And this one is, $1,200.
Okay, so what's happening is the meters aren't being read correctly. And so when another worker comes in and reads it and gives the true reading, there's the discrepancy there. So then you have a customer that's saying, why is it like this?
So that means that they didn't know how to read the meter or? what?
Well, yes, you could, no, they know how to read the meter. It's an integrity issue. It's an integrity issue. Also like a level of complacency, I think, I just want to be honest.
So I think the other is, people water leaks. I mean, I had that.
No,
number-
no, not everybody has, excuse me, but not everybody has leaks because I've been talking with people, not everybody has a leak that they got a bill, like if they have a swimming pool.
Sure, to a degree, there is water leaks. Of course, there's always gonna be different factors, obviously.
Yeah, but not
But-
everybody.
For the greater, and let's be honest, that's what it is. We're trying to turn that around those. We want to.
But
The
I'm
thing
sure
is,
that
if we have smart meters, then we
Yeah,
don't have to depend
I'm
on
absolutely
somebody
on
actually doing their job.
I'm absolutely on board with the smart meters. I think that would help us. Because the infrastructure could be kind of could be the focal point of our department. I think it would be beneficial. So smart meters is the way to go. I think, it's proven with all cities, even the Gateway has jumped us, so. I think we need to get on board.
Which I want to give some hope to the people that know that we're trying to find solutions. So they cannot be too mad at us.
Well, you might wanna let them know that you're gonna try something different.
Oh, okay, we were speaking about that this morning, right? So I think, back in the previous years, we had 2 meter readers, right? And so they were just kind of our unicorns, our diamonds in the rough. And
That was all they did.
Hey, get the boots on the ground and get that done. And so they would do that. And they had a crown big, they would just hit the ground.
They could get all the meters read here in Alpine, but water meters in 10 days.
Oh, absolutely. And so I think I want to go back to that way. So, the way it was before. So we're looking for 2 good hands to that really want to do that. That would be something. That would kind of leave the other guys to
Take care of business.
Yeah, take care of business.
Days.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's great to hear good news. Thank you.
So,
And then also, I think with smart meters, they have the ability for, I don't know if Carmen knows this, she hasn't been able to look at smart meters. If a customer has a question about their water bill, you can pull it up and actually see a graph
Oh,
of
yeah.
usage. And you can say, well, I see every day about 3 o'clock, you must take a shower, or somebody takes a shower. Because you use a lot of water here, and every morning about 8 o'clock, you wake up because there's all of a sudden water running. So I think that that will help also with the billing, so that people understand what their water usage is. And they'll be able to also see when they have leaks. Because sometimes leaks do happen, or a running toilet. I have a running toilet right now, so I turn it off, then turn it back on, then turn it off, so we can get it fixed, I mean, yes.
Yeah, from what I found, that's exactly what, or you would be able to do, right? More your job. This software does provide graphs that you're able to print out and show the customers, look. And Patty's the one that was telling me this, that they had a lot of kickback after they done, 'cause they found like 300 meters that were so old that they weren't reading accurate. So there was a lot of kickback, and she was able to, exactly that, she was like, there's one customer that I'll never forget because they were mind blown. Where like you go to the bath every day at 3 o'clock, because you use about 4 gallons of water, so it's telling you flush from the toilet and wash your hands. Your irrigation's coming on at 6 in the morning, you use about 300 gallons there. This is the time to get ready for work, this is when you come home for lunch, this is when you come home for the day, this is when you get ready to go to bed, based off your water usage. And nobody was able to argue it, and then she's saying also, if you have a portal, they can go on and be notified if they have such a water leak from those meters as well.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely with the AMIs, I'm not too familiar, it depends on whatever company you decide to go with. I know they do have portals, they're able to track it hour by hour. I know with CUSI, we have those graphs. And that would be very beneficial for now, to provide the CUSI online portal. And whoever we go with, their portal as well, so we'll be right there.
You won't have that excuse anymore. Well, I wasn't even at home for 2 weeks. It's gonna show every hour what they did, what was going on, and even if they weren't at home, somebody was at their house.
Something.
Yeah, so there's no denying the proof that any movement on that meter is gonna show up. So,
Councilmember Stevens?
I view we've been debating this for too long.
Yeah, let's do it, right?
I've been on city council now, this is my 4th term. We've talked about this and talked about this, and talked about it. It's time to move forward. That's what I keep asking. What are our dates?
Yes.
What are we gonna talk about it? So we can get a budget amendment, so you guys will put it.
And you'll keep the team together to help you with it.
yeah,
Okay,
most definitely. We can all stick together, we can make sure that we are all on the same page. That way we put y'all on the same page and what's the best thing for us to move forward.
We'll try to
Okay,
have,
so-
and we told you that you do your job and we support you.
So city manager, on the next city council meeting, you're gonna have an amendment for the gas department, a budget, correct? So we can move forward with them.
Well, we already have, at least 2 budget amendments pending right now in Victoria, would we be able to do that?
You will be able to do. Okay, and then as far as timeline, we're shooting to have recommendations and everything in place by November, so we can move forward.
Yes, and that would give us enough time to kind of look and review and make sure that there's no, better option. Like I said, I'm happy to hear that Council Lucas got positive feedback about Premier Waterworks. So we're happy to explore that as well. We did already reach out for a quote on their gas smart meters too. So we're happy to move forward. We're ready. The additional time would just definitely be best to make sure that everything's done correct.
Okay, for your team, y'all be ready by November so we can really start moving on this.
Based on the recommendation from CUSI, based on what we've seen, November should be, what we should for.
That work, Councilmember Steve?
Certainly, because we have on the agenda under the city manager support for every meeting, streets, water, wastewater. This is a great opportunity. You just give us an update.
What I like is all your working together, so that it shows that it's a big work.
Well, I think if that would have happened from the very get-go, we wouldn't be going through what we're going through right now. We could have a game plan.
Right, thank you for working.
Okay, anything else, council?
I think this is really important. This is the first time I've ever seen her be get all of the directors that come up here and actually speak to council and have that. We do like a duty.
Yes.
And thanks to you for giving that to me.
Yes, and thank you guys for being here.
You should.
All right, thank you.
I mean, it's nice to meet you. I feel like
Okay, so before we move into action items, it's time, it's past an hour, we're gonna take a 5-minute break. Okay, so 6:54, we come back at 6:59. Okay, and we're back. It's 7 p.m. Alex. Okay, so we're gonna move on into action items. Action item A, city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Action item A is approved the first reading of ordinance 2025-07-01. An ordinance amending appendix C zoning, to the Alpine Code of Ordinances, establishing proposed updates to include amendments to general zoning regulations, land use, acceptable uses, unacceptable uses, minimum standards, process permits, and general zoning issues in the city. Repealing chapter 78 signs, establishing a new section in appendix C zoning, providing for the regulation of signs within the corporate city limits of Alpine, providing the establishment of up to a $500 penalty per occurrence for violations of the ordinance, and providing for the following: findings of fact, enactment, repealer, penalty, saving, severability, proper notice and meeting, and effective date clause.
I need a motion. I need a second. And discussion, city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. This ordinance has been discussed for quite some time and originated through planning and zoning, and they made a recommendation to approve it. We discussed it most recently, 1 or 2 meetings ago, and made some amendments. We're basically ready for the council to just workshop it on the first reading. There have been some updates that Councilor Lucas would like to address with the House bill that our city attorney did advise us about. But other than that, I mean, we're ready to go forward. So y'all are.
Okay, Councilmember Rodriguez. Did you say
Yes.
you have updates? Okay, you are on the hot seat.
So just.
Key updates typed in our paper.
Because you're in the middle today.
Yeah.
So the updates that from the city attorney, first I'd like to say that this ordinance does contain comments from the city attorney. But Councilor Lucas and Jessica have reviewed it just to kind of ensure that it, that we can get long-lasting changes based on that House bill in the ordinance. So they had some recommendations to discuss with the council. And then there were some additional typographical errors that we'd like to address as well.
Back to Councilmember Lucas.
Okay, so, in regards to the House bill, it's gonna affect section 8 automatically. Sorry that I missed it. I've only looked at zoning, the laws that were gonna affect zoning, I didn't think about home occupation. And so these are gonna, for, I guess if we looked into one amendment or if we need to break it down. But I worked with, I passed by Geo and I also worked with our building official to come up with language we thought would be good. Cynthia, if you have any feedback, please, ma'am, do so. So the reason why our ordinance itself says home occupation is from a code enforcement standpoint, that's the terminology and language that are in those books, and so we have it there. But the language in our House bill says home-based business and no impact home-based business, and so we're looking at one, updating our definition for home occupation to also include home-based business with the new definition that reads as follows: a business that is operated for residential property by the owner or tenant of the property and for the purpose of manufacturing, providing or selling a lawful good, or providing a lawful service, provided that all home occupation uses are subject to a conditional use permit as provided in section 20. Also updating item E under home occupation / home-based business to read as follows: home occupation shall require a conditional use permit. The reason why I'm supportive of this, because I think if you're gonna run what I would consider an impactful home occupation out of your residence, your neighbors should be able to have some kind of say, whether they're in agreement with that. We're gonna do it for rezoning. I think that courtesy should be able to go there as well. And so that would be number 1, and then number 2, after home occupation would be where we would put in no impact home occupation / no impact home business. With the definition that comes straight out of House Bill 2464, which is a home-based business that A, has at any time on the property where the business is operated a total number of employees and clients or patrons of the business that does not exceed the municipal occupancy limit for the property. B, does not, generate on-street parking or substantial increase in traffic through the area. D, operates in a manner in which none of its activities are visible from the street. And D, does not substantially increase noise in the area or violate a municipal noise ordinance, regulations, or a rule. And that would be what I had for section, eight.
Cynthia?
I think that's a good addition, Mayor, to be able to differentiate between the newly established no impact home-based business versus impact home-based business. And so as long as we remove the requirement of any kind of permit or occupational license for the no impact home-based business, the city's ordinance would comply.
Councilmember Stevens?
So if we go back to the definition of no impact.
For no impact, yeah, you want to read the whole thing? Yeah, absolutely. So for no impact home, occupation or, home business based off of House Bill 2464, it's a four-part, definition, and it's a home-based business that A, has at any time on a property where the business is operated a total number of employees and clients or patrons of the business that does not exceed the municipal occupancy limit for the property. B, does not generate on-street parking or substantial increase in traffic through the area. D, operates in a manner in which none of its activities are visible from the street. And D, does not substantially increase noise in the area or violate municipal noise ordinance, regulation, or rule.
Okay, the reason I ask, when I think about one of the ones we've had an issue with from, home items business, that being a taxi shop, they could be all warrants. And I just, I just,
no impact.
hold back. If they could, if they, have the night have additional people, all the business and all, they have an aircraft that's fully contained, or whatever else is.
No one ever-
Yeah, no one ever knew. So and so, I just wanted to make sure we're all comfortable with that, because those, as an example, some.
They'll be
I would
asking
say
for a
that,
permit.
for the sense that they're gonna have to. Like, and just coming from a code perspective.
Oh, I know, yeah,
Right.
you get that.
From a code perspective, from it, it would be, I would consider that impact, and it would have to go under a home or, impact home-based business or home occupation. Because of the fact that the taxidermy is gonna have to have ventilation and grease traps and stuff, and so it's impacting structure itself. Where no impact shouldn't have any, and then when you look at like examples where they're using like, CPAs, home office, telecom, and stuff like that.
So I get that, I just wanna make sure we're really clear about that, so
Yeah.
we don't find ourselves in a situation like that. And it may be, given all the House bill, like we haven't seen the rest of the discussion.
Right, no,
But
absolutely.
it may be, we wanna table this to get those things put in place that Jessica will work for us. So we come back to the first week, otherwise, some would consider we could do a second reading. I know what you're saying. That makes sense?
Yeah, so this House bill is already,
Well, I know it is, yeah,
Okay.
well, I know, no,
that's
it's all, no, that's,
because I don't wanna prolong it too much, because we're already out of compliance.
yeah, I just want to get us in compliance.
Right, and so that's why I was like, here's the meat and potatoes of, to get us into compliance, we can figure out the semantics. From there, or it could be as simple as they have to come to Jessica and be like, look, this is what we're doing. Would you consider this impact or no impact? And if it is, here's the paperwork you need to fill out for a conditional use permit, and if it's not, then you don't have anything, you're good to go.
Yeah, fine, with that, that's it, fine, just know.
Yeah, so into a more of a definitive definition than, what is stated by our House bill and already defining it. Okay. Jessica, you will.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jessica Isley. I'm the building official for the city of Elbridge.
Hi, Jessica.
I just wanted to, speak on behalf of the home occupation, changes. One of the things, that was brought up was the taxidermy. The reason that that was actually a problem with the city was because of the obnoxious odors from the neighbors calling about the flies and the nuisance from the garbage. So it would be an issue with home occupation for that reason because of the biohazard that's there. And also, that processing food or meats is a commercial business. It's not considered a home occupation.
Now, if I may.
Yeah.
With the new definition, what they're saying. With the home occupation, because. My problem with Noel or Noe, rather, that I was discussing in regards to this specific, thing is, one, it's not a true home occupation if you don't live there. But based off of this definition, because his mother-in-law on it, he would be able to use, I understand, he'd be able to do a home occupation under an impactful, right? And so then he would just have to go through the process of doing a conditional use permit and bringing it up to code, obviously at that building. And as long as he did that and his neighbors were good with that, as far as the conditional use permit, I personally would have no issues with it. And it would meet, what we have here. And then, mechanical code and plumbing code.
I'd have to have these traffic, these are that, they're actually processing.
They were gonna find an equipment, possibly that they were gonna find was like $2,000.
And then unfortunately for taxidermy, even though he's not a legitimate taxidermy, he's only doing, European head or European metal. There's still a little bit of byproduct stuff. PCQ does not care whatsoever at all. If they get you fall into these parameters, it's what you must have. So fortunately, that's what he has. One of the conversations with Noel or Noe, when I was building official, he had no qualms for bringing it up to whatever code he had to do. It was just getting pushed. So, and, under our current, home occupation wouldn't fit, but under, what we're changing the home occupation to, because this is just in addition to what's already there, it would end up becoming permissible as long as it's, majority of protest.
Okay, so just from a function, self-complete that. Wanted to make sure we all have consistency and understanding.
Oh, yeah.
So it would not be a no impact, it would be an impact. But he would have the potential of bringing it up to code. So he spends the, what's necessary to that.
And I just find with this going through and then he can go for his, and I mean, it would also go with her as well, but
Yeah.
for me, the standpoint of getting in her shoes and then now being here, I would be fine with him going for the conditional use permit, making sure it goes through before he spends any money. And then, before he gets the green light from our, building official, making sure that he follows his code requirements. And then if they, or doing some modification of the building.
Okay. Continuing on then, beauty product,
Yeah, so that would be an impact as well.
that would be an impact.
Yeah, they would need a special use, and then that's in our ordinance already because it was changed with a special use, conditional use permit. And that's why we kept home occupation and then the no impact, there's two different ones. So the home occupation would need a special use, conditional use permit. You would send letters to the neighbors, they'd go through the planning and zoning and through council. No impact would they would need a permit for that. To do,
So, I, the way this one, I'm just trying to understand, why is it use on an impact versus a no impact?
because of the traffic. You're gonna have people coming and going. So one of the things about no impact, it states in they cannot generate, does not generate on-street parking or substantial increase in traffic through the area.
So if they have a parking spot at a location, there'll be no street parking. How would that you go?
Because it increases traffic through the area. You have customers coming every hour by the hour, it would increase traffic in the residential. And it would affect your neighbors.
I just think.
Like, for instance, like for one of my suppliers, when I call her, she works out of an office. That would be a no impact. It's just her, she lives there and she has a room dedicated to her house for answering the phone and taking orders and it goes to their warehouses and they ship it, but. Not increasing that.
And you also need a backflow for, salon.
Oh, yeah, that,
Because of the chemicals that they use, so you have to make sure that that was installed as well to protect the water.
So I would, this is very helpful. I would suggest that we kind of delineate all this so that we have some consistency of understanding of some. Yeah, I think just not that helps an awful lot to say, here's what it means to be going back. And here's all the rules you gotta follow.
so that we want to do. Keep the ball rolling, an amendment to accept this with the direction of her bringing up all those semantics added to it as well.
I think that's
Read it in the
process.
second reading.
That was.
Okay, any other discussion, Council? That's what I propose, so we need to keep going, so we'll make amendments and be ready for Thursday. Councilmember Spain, okay, all right, would you like to propose the amendment?
Good, read it all out. Yeah, yes.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. And
Thank you, Jessica.
I'm having a little bit of difficulty with the hearing, and so I'm not sure, but I think maybe Gio pointed it out. There was an inconsistency in the penalty amount within the ordinance, and so I was just going to point out, if y'all want to establish, like, the maximum penalty for a zoning violation is $2,000 per violation. So I don't know if y'all wanted to make that amendment on the go. That is not, I mean, that is not necessarily what a court would assess for that. It would just give the court or the judge the ability on a criminal violation to assess the maximum if it was necessary.
Okay. Or well, it's about the social to make the amendment, do you want me to read it for that amendment?
I would say that you can go ahead and just make it to approve with the amendments discussed as fine.
Okay. Then I'll make the motion to amend section 8 in regards to definition of E under home occupation, adding no impact home occupation / no impact home business with the definition from House Bill 2464, and then also with the direction to our building official to add the semantics of what would justify impact and no impact home occupation, so there's no confusion amongst our citizens, and to hopefully make their life a little easier with all the questions. You want to add that? Then, okay, so then, yep, and then also to accept comment 1 and comment 5, which were in regards to changing the fees from $500 to $2,000 maximum that they're allowed to go to, as well as allowing our staff to fix all of our typographical issues. Perfect.
I need a second. I think. Okay, any discussion?
So when I go to 2,000, this is the only place where we have a benefit $2,000. All our independents max is 500.
In certain circumstances, you can do a higher. It's just, again, like giving the judge the ability to assess a higher penalty.
Because I'm just from philosophical.
I believe it would provide better enforcement, be able to assess a higher penalty, especially for repeat offenders.
So part of the reason I raised that, we want to across the board, change it from $500 max to $2,000 as we update ordinances.
We're not allowed on everything to go to 2,000. Usually we're capped at the 500, but this is one of the few instances where we are allowed to assess a higher fee.
Cynthia?
So the local government code, chapter 54, controls penalties. And so it actually has a division of penalties within there. So zoning penalties, $2,000 max, certain nuisances regarding wastewater disposal and that type of thing, I think max is 400. General city ordinances is $500 max. And then of course, some transportation code type of ordinances are 200. So, and just FYI, normally council, when when the ordinances come through me to review, that's one of the things that I check just to make sure that you have the maximum penalty that you can get, you know, under the authorized law.
I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Cynthia, but I think the other one. The state fees, state board and well, which is dramatically higher.
Okay, any other discussion on the amendment? All right, let's vote on the amendment. Okay, Alex, City Council unanimously voted to approve the amendment as described by Councilmember Lucas. Now the original motion as amended. So, yeah. So Alex, City Council unanimously voted for the original motion as amended. Remember, Councilmember Pretend signed the resignation. All right, moving on to action item B, City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Action item B is approved replat 2025-07-01, a replat application which would allow the applicant Horticultural Consulting LLC to reflect the updated ownership of a recently purchased portion of public property. The subject property is located at or about 508 South Fifth Street and is legally described as a replat of Lot 5, Block 1, J.W. Ferguson, Second Edition to City of Alpine. Subdivision plat on file and envelope 96, plat records of Brewster County, Texas. The record property owner is Horticultural Consulting LLC. The parcel ID of the subject property is 10378. The current zoning classification of the property is R3 Apartment District. If the replat is approved, the zoning classification of the subject property will remain R3 Apartment District.
I need a motion. I need a second. Discussion, City Manager.
Thank you. So essentially Horticultural Consulting LLC did approach the city to purchase a portion of public property last year. As you all, or most of y'all are aware, essentially that we had some issues with it. Initially, it wasn't approved. They approached us again after discussing the matter with the previous city manager and the director of utilities. They gave their blessing on it. The council approved the sale of that property. And as part of that process, we require them to replat to ensure the public record is up to date. The applicants have been more than willing to do everything needed to purchase the property, and so they submitted the application. It was approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission, and we do recommend approval.
Councilmember Martinez.
I agree with them.
Okay, Councilmember Lucas. Councilmember Escobedo. Councilmember Stevens. Let's vote. Aye. Alex, council unanimously voted to approve the replat 2025-07-01. Moving on to action item C, City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Item C is approve the ratification of resolution 2025-06-20-F, a resolution appointing Geoffrey R. Calderon as interim city manager.
Okay, I need a motion. I need a second. Discussion. Councilmember Martinez.
I'm really happy with the geo work and things and
Councilmember Stevens.
So I just have a technical question here. I read through all the background and everything else. We did this in a special meeting, that we have to approve the resolution again, because it said it wasn't part of the record. I need to understand.
Cynthia can explain.
Oh, good. Cynthia, please.
Yes, sir. So for some of the actions that our interim city manager has to take, he actually has to show, quote, a resolution of the city council. So although you all made that appointment at your special called meeting, and it's, completely authorized him to be the interim city manager, we've got to be able to have that resolution on the books and ratified in case he actually has to produce a document to say TML or the banks or TMRS with the retirement system, because they will actually ask for a resolution rather than the minute orders contained within the city's minutes. So,
Well, I appreciate that. My struggle was when I looked at the resolution, it was dated the 17th of June, so I thought that resolution was done.
So essentially, we dated it as the 17th of June because we had to have a signed copy to present to the bank in order to change the bank interest information part.
Yeah.
So that's when I reached out to Cynthia and she advised we can go ahead and she approved this draft resolution. We signed it in advance.
Oh,
And now you're ratifying. it.
Yeah, thank you. That's my question. Thanks.
Must be locked out of our accounts.
No, I get all that, yeah, but I didn't understand what I was saying.
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay, Councilmember Escobedo. Good. Councilmember Ricketts. Okay, let's vote.
Aye.
Right.
All right, Alex, council unanimously approved the ratification of resolution 2025-06 20 Moving on to action item B, city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Item D is approve the city manager job description.
Okay, I need a motion.
I move we approve the city manager job description.
I need a second. Okay, discussion, city manager.
Thank you. We do have the city manager job description up for formal approval. It was last updated in July of 2021. Now that we are going to be searching for a permanent city manager, this will allow me to go ahead and post the position after the council approves it. I drafted the amendments that you all wanted to see based on the last conversation. So I believe it should be ready for approval, but y'all can let me know if we need any other changes before I post it.
Okay, so council is on page 162 of 176, if you haven't looked at it. I don't remember what we said as far as the bachelor's degree. I thought it was just a college degree, but that may be mistaken what we decided. So let's open it up for discussion, what we have here, so that we can get this posted. All right, Councilmember Ricketts.
That was my understanding, both, but, when I was reading over it, I see, like, it's required. Like, just kind of, let me know.
That was my intent. I mean, I figured the council could make that decision, should it not be a business or a political science. Right.
Accounting, English, or whatever. Okay, Councilmember Stevens.
No, I'm good with that in terms of the language there. I do have a couple comments. One, nowhere in here, which surprises me, is the word leadership. It's all about, plan, direct, and manage, and my view is the city manager is not the employees that we have, so I thought it worthwhile somewhere to get the word, leadership in there, so leads, plans, directs, manages, maybe. In terms of the start as one thought. So second thing is I think about. I would think we want some words in there that talks about. A good understanding of the city of Alpine or our community. And so I don't see that as the word. Someone who can actively understands our mechanisms, then that should have to be outlined, and certainly this region. I think the last thing we want to do is recruit someone and they don't understand what goes on. So those are the two things that I was thinking. That makes sense?
One thing that I've seen is when posting for positions such as this, there's maybe like a ahead of the job description that kind of explains. Usually I've seen those with the executive recruitment kind of type, advertisement. They do like a profile, things of that nature. I mean, we can certainly come up with one if you want more. I mean, we're happy to have, any more language that y'all recommend to the job description if you'd rather go that route. My initial plan was to, if you all approve it today, post it soon, like tomorrow, get it 30 days. Kind of see where we're at, and then that should let us know whether or not based on those candidates, if we want to do executive.
Right.
But it's completely up to you all.
I don't want to limit it. We have somebody that's outstanding from Dallas. We said they have to understand this general area, that you can eliminate them from position. I mean, they grew up in another rural community in South Texas or East Texas.
I think that is if I was a country for the city manager, I was in Dallas or in the city, or I would want to know what Alpine was about.
Sure.
And I think that's what brings to.
That's what I'm trying to do is.
Because it's important, because if we're to bring them and ask them certain questions.
Right.
Would they be able to answer?
They need to have an understanding of the.
And
So that means that, okay, so let's say I'm working in Centerville, Texas, as the city manager, it's a rural community of 4,000 people. And I want to come out here. All I need to do is read Mount Alpine, understand some of the history, maybe listen to small town big stories, or I'm automatically ruled out. Or if I don't.
no, but I mean, that would be, I think to me, that's it. It's also, with leadership, means. I believe,
Yeah, we can add management, comma, leadership, experience there, that's.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, I think the leadership is wonderful, but we don't have to limit to West Texas, you know. Like the mayor said, maybe somebody can come for rural county and they really want to work with small communities and they have experience in that. They really wanted to work, that's what we want. People that they wanted to work, they're honest and they're having a teamwork and they care of the community. So, if they really want this job, they will, study how, Alpine is. You know, some of our traditions, our cultures, so what we're familiar with, so they will impress us, they say, yeah, I like Alpine because you do this and this and this and that. And so they have to show that people that they have, but we shouldn't limit it to the city where they are coming. We focus on the experience, so it really want to.
Councilmember Lucas, I'm sorry. Yeah, thank you. Councilmember Lucas.
I'm all for people that are local and whatnot, but I've also met quite a few people that are from this area that fall in love with this area and learn about it, and they are from biggest advocates, like James Etcherson, not from here, but he does so much for this area. Yourself is a great example as well. They're a handful of other people that are not from here, but they move here, fall in love with what all of us love about this area. Love about it, grow the knowledge. But I would go, but I guess I'll say that out loud. Maybe a little bit of. But,
Okay, Councilmember Stevens.
I think there's a misinterpretation of what we're trying to find.
Okay, good.
Okay. There are people who come out here all the time and then go somewhere else. Okay, my view, terrific. Okay. I would be struggling though if someone for the first time showed them an Alpine or the Alpine City Manager, never been here before. That's my point. And so familiar with the area doesn't mean they live here.
They traveled here.
They've been out here a lot, go back north, they actually want to be here. As opposed to, I just want to come here for $100,000 a year job. That's my concern. If they really want to be here, they demonstrate. I mean, to your point, James has come out here significant. But I look at John Klingenberg, he came back home, he was out here, spent all over the country. That's the point I'm trying to think. How we word that? I think, my experience has been watching a lot of people who show up here for the first time and want to get a job, they are not sticking around.
Yeah.
That's my, they go. So that's how we word that.
So any ideas? Come on up, and Chief.
You want to see the city manager?
Yeah. Who's gonna be our police chief?
Just a throw it out there, like what Mr. Stevens was saying, one of the things I don't want is somebody that falls in love with Alpine, they want a good place to retire and it becomes stagnant and just leave it to whatever to run. That's I don't want that.
Thank you. Okay, so So how do we work it?
We can definitely insert language however you'd like. You want to maybe do like a small profile, I mean, if any job description should have that, this one would. Maybe a profile of the.
Somebody who has been out here, at least traveled here numerous times, is that what?
Yeah.
Geographically.
There is no one here.
Yeah, and there will not be, okay, there's just not ever gonna be. I'm sorry.
And in my,
HEB, much to our dismay. You know,
we
They
had
told
this have
no.
a discussion, and it doesn't necessarily need a position description.
okay,
What I was trying to do was make sure we're aligned about the sort of person we want to have. Not someone who's just coming for a job, but someone says, hey, I want to be an outline, because I want to make a difference. I've been here before, I understand.
So you're not all about it going in here, but at least you have that forefront of our brain.
That's what I'm
doing here. Get that.
okay, yes.
Absolutely.
All right, so what do we need to do to get this posted? as soon as
Well,
possible?
so my idea was have your formal approval, however, the last, the job description should be before we post it. Post it tomorrow, post it on TML. Again, give it at least 30 days, see what kind of applications we get. I wanted the directors to be very involved in the, sorting through them.
Yes, same here.
And, of course, the council can get every application as well, if you like. Whatever process you would want to implement, but again, I just want the directors to have a hand since it'll be their grants for them.
Right. Councilmember Stevens.
I would take out pay plan out of this, was an attachment as part of this, and then,
What is it?
so if you look at, so this position group from page 166, it says pay plan. This is not a part of the pay plan classification, so you should.
You just do that.
Well, it's because it came from the compensation study, so on our pay plan, there's an ungraded option. There's like, all the regular numbers and then the ungraded option. They correlate, so.
We said,
But we can just remove that whole pay grade section. Any other amendments before we vote?
back to the leadership discussion, I would put maybe an easy way to do it under work environment.
Okay, well, under special consideration,
Well, yeah, work environment, physical abilities and work environment. You have two bullets right there, Gio.
okay,
Maybe put leads and team of over 100 people employees. And that way you got, leads team, 100 employees, works from their office environment. And exposure to potentially type rate members as well.
Right.
So that may be the possibility.
okay.
Okay, anything else, council? So we're taking the pay plan out, correct?
Yes.
Anything for a second,
Yeah.
So this one, this next meeting is gonna be.
Mhm. Yes, again, I think, the best course of action would be at least 30 days and then see what kind of applicants we get. Then the council can determine if they want to move forward with any of them or if we need to go off for executive.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right, so motion we discussed, are we ready to vote? Okay. Aye. Okay, so Alex, city council voted unanimously to approve the city job description as discussed. Moving on to action item E, city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Item E is approve the Director of Public Utilities job description.
I need a motion.
Vote we approve the position description as presented. I'll leave that right there.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
All right, discussion, start with city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. This is similar to the last item. So the last official utility director job description was approved in July 2021. In November, the city manager approached you all and you all approved the modification and it is recorded in the minutes. But there was never a formal job description that was drafted based on that. So we went ahead and took the one from the compensation study. We amended the job description to include the 3 to 5 years project management experience, which you all recommended. And of course, the we did make the C license and wastewater and water a preferred option. And it's ready for your review. I mean, I think it's good to go, but it doesn't do all, I want to thank the other, but
Well, let's discuss, we can talk about possible events, not receiving.
I have one bit, and that has the pay grades by classification is not included in the record.
we did actually, we have run into a number of issues with compensation study, and that is one of them, and so it, but it does not include the finance director. And other positions, so we're running into those things right now. However, the pay grade,
I get 115, I'm good with that.
right, okay,
Okay, so you're welcome.
perfect, yes, and I'll give an update on, city manager report as far as what I'm working on.
That's right.
Okay. Councilmember Escobedo?
Okay, what is on here?
Okay, Councilmember Lucas? Councilmember Martinez? Okay. So are we ready to vote on it? Alex, City Council unanimously approved the Director of Public Utilities job description as written. All right, so that moves us into executive reports. Each executive report has 6 minutes with an allowable 4-minute extension if needed. And remember, council per forma, we can only ask questions or we can only discuss items mentioned in these reports if they are specifically listed. Our city manager this evening has listed employee compensation, so that, streets, water, wastewater, budget, grants, information technology, cybersecurity, utility, billing software transition, requests for proposals, smart meters, and pending projects. So it's. Yeah. All right, so for the city mayor report, I'm gonna abstain this evening in the interest of time, and we'll move straight on to the city. manager.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. So the first item, that I have for y'all is employee compensation. As you're aware, the city council adopted a compensation study, in November 2024. The purpose of that study was to ensure that the city remains competitive in compensation, and included an increase in minimum starting pay for most positions to $15 per hour. As part of the study, Evergreen, the consultant, developed updated job descriptions based on feedback from city employees. However, although the study itself was adopted, the job descriptions were never formally approved. So we've been continuing to operate under job description approved in 2021, and they don't correlate with the current pay scales. They have the incorrect pay scales on there. So I've recently distributed the proposed job descriptions to department directors and requested feedback in preparation for formal approval. And my intention is to present these updated job descriptions to the council department by department over the coming months. So in addition, the city should begin drafting the classification and compensation plan administration manual or similar document to accompany the study. That would provide necessary flexibility for, and guidance for future updates, including the addition, removal, or modification of job roles. It would allow us to target those issues like Councilor Stevens brought up and recognize those positions that weren't included down. So do y'all have any questions on that? The streets, the director of public. And on to streets updates, the director of public works, Eddie Molinar, reported that the street department has completed seal coating on 17 blocks. That includes 9 blocks from East Avenue to South Highway 118 and 14, 8 blocks along West Murphy from South 14th Street to South Albert Street. And they're currently planning to seal coat 2 blocks on South Berkeley, 5 blocks from West Avenue F to South Albert and Dawson Street, and 1 block from South Dawson to West Murphy. The team's goal is to complete 14 blocks at a time, working towards the overall target of 44 blocks this year. Of course, due to the recent rainfall, the project is about approximately 2 weeks behind. But once weather conditions improve, they anticipate being able to catch up and meet the annual goal. Next, yes.
Since we're on streets, the zipper and the front end loader.
Yes, so on the zipper and the loader, a budget amendment will be required to account for the purchase of those items. And we anticipate presenting that amendment to the council on July 15th. And the zipper was ordered on May 9th with an original estimated delivery timeline of 3 months. However, delivery may be delayed due to extended lead times caused by tariffs impacting parts identified. The loader is scheduled to be ordered on July 16th, 2025, and delivery is expected approximately 2 to 3 weeks after that order is placed, barring any unforeseen delay.
So. As we talk, my question is, Country Club states,
You know, I'm meeting with the mayor and Judge Henningsen on Thursday, and I was planning to bring that up to him at that meeting.
so just one time, Steve.
I will. You have any questions of them? Okay, for the Parks Department, the parks, they're currently performing cosmetic improvements to a wall at Centennial Park in preparation for the upcoming Centennial reunion. In addition, the team has been inspecting and maintaining backflow prevention valves at Centennial, Medina, and Coconut Parks. The pool, operations of the pool are running smoothly. We do recognize that a new pump will be required after the current season ends. We are expecting that to be a $9,300 item, and we have plans to get that fixed along with to replace the fan and the filter tanks. Again, once the season ends. Any questions? Water and wastewater, I'm pleased to report a noticeable improvement in morale within the utilities department. They've been making steady progress in addressing the backlog of work orders, and I anticipate continued momentum there. Mike Macias, the current lead in the department, has been working closely with TCEQ, the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, to determine the next steps required for Blake Edwards to regain his Class C operator license. That latest update includes that he'll need to take or complete a resiliency test to obtain the license, because it's lapsed in April. In addition, Mr. Macias is actively working towards obtaining his own Class C license, so that's good news. And to answer your question from the last meeting, Counselor Stevens, under Texas law, a utility system must operate under the supervision of a licensed Class C operator at all times. There is no grace period, unfortunately. And to avoid potential enforcement and action, we just need to make sure that we get a Class C operator as soon as possible. So again, we're working on that, and I'm hoping that the resilience test, if Blake can take it and we can get an operator license with freedom. Okay. Like,
So we're not compliant right now.
we are not. Okay. Alrighty, is for, did you have any other questions on it?
So what's our risk?
It would be, you know, if TCEQ are aware of the issue, or if they become aware of the issue, they would send us a letter of notice of violation for enforcement. We have pending violations that need to look into, well, at least one, it's gotta be on our radar coming up soon.
Then, so should we go hire someone for the month?
Well, I mean, that's something to consider. Certainly try to find somebody with a license and try to take it every minute. I think that's a good idea.
I mean, we got a number that Robert's Marathon got,
Okay,
Don Adams, Fort Davis. I believe they're both Loveways. And then I'm not sure where Martha is, but I know Scott Adams helped us out in the past. I'm sure if people want to help, so, you know, reach out to all three municipalities.
sure, that sounds great. We can make an agreement. I mean, again, I would anticipate them to be close to get experience. And associates good.
So it's a low budget, low risk. Seems good.
Okay, I'll look into that, absolutely. So as far as the budget, we are looking forward to getting work on that budget, and I'm just pleased to have an experienced finance director on board to guide that process with her expertise. Thank you very much. Victoria. While the finance department continues to streamline internal procedures and initiate work on the 23-24 audit, we remain confident that the budget development process will proceed smoothly. And so as part of our preparation, I have distributed the current fee schedules to all departments and requested feedback on proposed changes or updates that they may have. And that'll help us just ensure that we have the most accurate fees included for the budgeting process. As far as IT and cybersecurity is concerned, it's going smoothly. We're in phase 2 of 4 of the implementation for our city-wide cybersecurity software rollout.
So we have 3 meetings. Now, we need to start setting our tax base. Okay. Can we have a schedule of next city council meeting? What needs to get done, what the timeline is? Because my sense is we're probably gonna have to have some additional meetings. those are the schedules. Watch.
Okay. Sounds good. As far as the utility billing software transition, the utility billing supervisor, Carmen Rodriguez, continues to lead that rollout of this USI utility billing software. And she's been instrumental in ensuring a smooth transition. So recently, the utilities team met with Carmen to review the proposed meter reading routes and provided feedback that will help streamline the operations. A final review of the combined routes is going to be conducted tomorrow with the gas department and the water utilities department. And after that review, we're going to send those routes out to the vendor to add. Okay, any questions?
So utility billing software, that's gonna be a huge transition for all of us.
Yes.
What are we gonna get into?
So after we send the routes to the vendor, we should be able to conduct a demo in-house, like another demo with all of our information, and we'll be provided next steps then. I believe Carmen, she left, but she was also discussing when we're doing a possible workshop or other things once we're able to have the information.
Yeah, I think that's important, and I think we all wanna be guinea pigs in that process. We're gonna get questions.
Okay.
So have a workshop.
Yes, we have discussed doing a workshop or something similar once it launches, so let people know when we can and do a follow feature. Okay. Sounds good. Okay, so next up, we have grants, and at least report that we are now in compliance status with TxDOT for meeting the Title VI requirements. Like the mayor mentioned, we do have a webpage now, and we have all the policies, procedures, and related resources available there. I did mention earlier that I received a draft contract for consulting services with Marcy Tuck, who will assist us in conducting a comprehensive review of all our grants, and in addition to that, she'll give special attention to the Texas Parks and Wildlife grant, because we are concerned just about the compliance status on some of that. Other than that, you know, I did request her support in evaluating payment options related to smart meter projects, so I think what I said would be helpful. That's all I have for that. Any questions?
So, where the conversation, I would like to have like the organization chart. Debating, where you were talking about eliminating or reconstructing the departments so they make sense.
Okay, well, we can definitely workshop that. Okay.
You're low on time,
Okay.
so.
Request for proposals, we're working, we need to, start one soon on the retail electric service provider RFP. As well as the ALOS relocation and RFP for the airport. It's really about it.
All right, any other questions? Okay, great report. Thank you. Thank you. You have been very busy. All right, so city council member comments, Councilmember Stevens, 1 minute for each council member, comments, please.
Nothing else like you that wants to discuss the executive session.
Councilmember Escobedo. Councilmember Lucas.
Yeah, thank you for all the work you're doing. Well, thank you for all the directors and our team, the utilities for being here. And ask them to us and speak for y'all's support as a subject matter experts that we got for you. And I really appreciate it.
Councilmember Martinez.
Thank you, Dio, and all the directors. I'm very impressed how good you are working together. It shows that the team working, that's what we want. So thank you so much, and thank you. The rest of the stay here. Thank you, she will be here, don't go to sleep.
I know he's sleeping right there. I think he's making Jessica fall asleep. Yes, I want to reiterate that, reiterate everything you guys are doing, Alex for stepping up, filling the role of substitute city secretary during the meetings, and Geo for making sure that you are reaching out to the directors who are our experts in their field. That's the way it should work. With any interim or with any city manager, that should be reaching out to the directors and pulling them together, and putting everybody's heads together. Thank you for forming that team, being willing to go out and look at the smart meters, and look at what's best for the community we live in and for all of our friends and family. And thank you, Victoria, for being our finance director. I don't know that we could do it without you. Thank you very much. We are deeply grateful for everything. Thank you, Jessica. You're always at every city council meeting, just in case we have a question, we can call you up. And we noticed that and we appreciate that. Of course, she's always here too. And we are grateful for all the employees here. So thank you very much. All right, so. And that brings us to item number 14, executive session. Pursuant to chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code, the city council reserves the right to convene into executive session from time to time as deemed necessary during this meeting for any posted agenda item or to receive advice from the attorney as permitted by law. Tonight, the city council will recess into the executive session pursuant to section 551.074, which is personnel matters. A, to evaluate the interim city manager's recommendation on appointment, reassignment, and duties related to the hiring of the Director of Public Utilities, and B, to evaluate the duties and performance of duties of the interim city manager related to operational and personnel matters. May I get a motion to recess into executive? I need a second. Okay, any discussion? Let's vote. Aye. Alex, city council has voted to move into executive session at 7:56.
Okay.
Thank you guys. So Randy,
Yes.
can he help you? Bo. I need a motion to move into open session. I need a second. Any discussion? Let's vote.
Aye.
Alex, city council voted to move into open session at 8:59 PM. I need a motion to extend past 9 PM. I need a second. Any discussion? Let's vote. Alex, city council voted to extend past 9 PM. I need a motion to move back into executive session. I need a second. Any discussion? Let's vote. Alex, city council moved to move back into executive session at 8:59 PM. I need a motion to move back into open session. I need a second. Discussion, let's vote. Aye.
Aye.
Alex, city council unanimously voted to move back into open session at 9:18 PM. So that brings us to action after executive session.
I propose that the city council approves the city manager's recommendation to appoint Mike Macias as the director of public utilities for the city of Alpine.
I need a second. Any discussion? Let's vote.
Aye.
Alex, city council voted unanimously to approve Mike Macias as the director of the utilities department for the city of Alpine. Okay, and with that, we are closing the meeting at 9:19 PM.